He also felt sad, but he could think of no way. Is still there. Prabhupada, Haṁsarūpa asked. That's a little too loud. Huh? Now that you are with us, you can ask any necessary direction. But in the future, when you are not with us, now that you are with us, we can ask you any necessary direction. But in the future, when you are not always with us, how can we get direction from you? Krishna's name is not different than Krishna. Do you understand? Yes, Haṁsarūpa replied. But he knew his understanding was only theoretical. He knew he would have to think more deeply on Prabhupada's answer. Prabhupada was indicating that by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna himself would be present, so the disciple could get direction from him, capital H, Krishna, by the grace of the spiritual master. In Jadharani's case, there was no doubt that she should continue painting. She had often gone to Prabhupada's house for detailed instructions. When she had shown him a just completed portrait of his own spiritual master, sitting amidst trees and greenery, Prabhupada had commented, "You have put my Guru Maharaj in the American forest. He was never in such a forest." He told her to paint Lord Chaitanya in a garden scene, but not to copy the Indian print showing an Om sign and Radha Krishna above Lord Chaitanya's head. That is an artist's imagination, Prabhupada said. This is the way Lord Chaitanya appeared in Navadvip. Don't change anything. And Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj should be colored as Indians are generally, a lighter brown, tan like wheat. Balaramji is colored milk white with little bluish tint and rosy luster. How does Prabhupada know? Prabhupada also encouraged Pradyumna, telling him just what he wanted to hear. He should continue studying Sanskrit so that he could make transliterations for all of Prabhupada's work and eventually come to the standard of a good Sanskrit scholar for the Krishna conscious movement. Pradyumna asked to come to Montreal with Prabhupada and learn more things from him. Prabhupada agreed. The day came for Prabhupada's departure. The devotees accompanied him to the airport. And at the lounge, an unknown boy suddenly appeared and sat at Prabhupada's feet. "Can you see God?" the boy asked. He replied, "At every moment." "Are you liberated?" "Yes." "Then if you're liberated," the boy challenged, "why don't you go back to the spiritual world right now?" Don't be crazy, Prabhupada said. "We go when Krishna desires. We have already surrendered. So we shall go when Krishna desires. We have just bought tickets from Montreal, so we are assured of going there. But it is not that as soon as we buy the tickets we turn and say, 'Where is Montreal?' No, everything will happen in due course. We have bought the tickets. We are waiting. Soon the plane will leave." Prabhupada advised the boy to stay with the devotees in the Boston temple and hear from them. In time, he said, the boy would be able to understand. Jadharani. Govinda Dasi and I got on the plane with Prabhupada just so we could see him up to the last minute. His words to us were from the Bhagavatam. He quoted two verses. Vasudeva Praveda, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parang Jnanam. This means that Krishna is the goal of yoga. He is the benefactor of fruitive activities. He is the cause of the Vedas. Krishna is everything. And I began to cry because Prabhupada was leaving. He reached over and passed his hand over my face. I asked him, "Srila Prabhupada, sometimes when we ask you something and you give us permission, are you being like the super soul? Are you just giving us sanction for what we want?" Srila Prabhupada replied, "When the spiritual master speaks, it is Krishna speaking." When Prabhupada got to Montreal, he wrote me a letter within a day or two saying, I am simply remembering your face when you were crying in the plane. And then he gave me an order. Please don't be agitated in any way. Krishna is always with you, and he is always your friend. So many disturbing elements may enter into your life, but it is never agitated. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A devotee is never agitated. What does that mean? I see so many times that devotees are agitated. Does that mean that they're not devotees? What's that mean? What are we, 4, 6, 58? What's the chapter? What? 6, 70. We really have to get that. They really have to get it synced up, right, Archita? Archita knows. That's right. Krishna likes to change us up. Wait, 4, 6, what? 4, 8, 70, should be. 4, 8, 70. Very interesting. Four 865. Okay. Well, that's a little more like it. Okay, put it up. It's a good thing we have Sandesh and the boys to get it correct right away, without a moment's hesitation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, 8th chapter, text number 65. Chapter titled, Dhruva Maharaj Leaves Home. Jai Shri Shivara Govinda Dev Ki. Rajavacha Suto me balako brahman Srainai karnat Straine akarunatmana Straine akarunatmana Nirvashita panchabhasha Sahamatra Mahan Kavi. Please chant. Rajavacha Suto me balako brahman Stranena karunatmana Nirvasitak panchavasha Sahamatra Mahan Kavi. Rajavacha Nirvashita panchavasha Rajavacha Sutome Oh, today it's 66. Is there a purport? No purport. So 16. So 68 is purport. Okay, so it turns out that Hadai already did this verse. Huh? Right, so the boys know because they were here. So then texted, today 68 is the verse, but there's no purport. Well, I mean, not 68. What's the purport? What's the verse? Majaji was just telling me. 69. So what's that? Aditya? What verse are we doing? 4868. Okay, we're back to 4868. I'll just read it, because we only have to chant 10 times. Naruvacha Mama Suchak Swatanayam Devaguktam Vishampate Taprabhavam Avigyaya Pravrinkteya Jasho Jagat. Naruvacha. The great sage Narada said, Ma, do not. Ma, do not. Sucha, be aggrieved. Swatanayam, of your own son. Devaguptam, he is well protected by the Lord. Vishampate, O master of human society. Tat, his. Prabhavam, influence, avigyaya, without knowing, pravrinkte, widespread, yet, whose, yasha, reputation, jagat, all over the world. Translation, the great sage Nada replied, my dear king, please do not be aggrieved about your son. He is well protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although you have no actual information of his influence, his reputation is already spread all over the world. Okay, now, you sure we didn't do this? Majaji, want to continue? Purport. Sometimes when we hear that great sages and devotees go to the forest and engage themselves in devotional service or meditation, we become surprised. How can one live in the forest and not be taken care of by anyone? But the answer given by a great authority, Narada Muni, is that such persons are well protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sharanagati, or surrender, means acceptance or firm belief that wherever the surrendered soul lives, he is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is never alone or unprotected. Dhruva Maharaj's affectionate father thought his young boy, only 5 years old, to be in a very precarious position in the jungle. But Narada Muni assured him, you do not have sufficient information about the influence of your son. Anyone who engages in devotional service anywhere within this universe is never unprotected. Om Jnana Tamanda Shaganandana Sloka Chokshuramatam Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangu Maikari Tegaram Yakitatamam Hare Shri Ram to this, in conjunction with the Lilamrita, we can see how Prabhupada is reassuring the devotees about their position. In the same way, here, the great sage Narada is reassuring the king about his son's position. A little late for the son to be concerned about, the father to be concerned about the son, after having not taken the proper steps to equalize the situation when his wife chastised his son and prevented him from going up on his lap. After all, he's the king. He can do anything he wants. Could have told the woman to leave the boy alone. But as it's described in the previous verse, he was conquered by affection. So this affection was there for the wife, but not for the son. So this is not, how can you say, a very equitable affection. It's not that we think that affection can be applied indiscriminately. But it's not possible. You cannot just say, have affection for this person and don't have affection for that person. One who is compassionate, we see that the Vaishnava is supposed to develop this quality of compassion. So he shows compassion, but compassion is also requires some, what Prabhupada called responsive cooperation. You can have compassion, but compassion can be just simply giving the bum a dime, and never seeing that person again. Or it can be extending a helping hand in order to make sure that we see that. What did Prabhupada do? Crazy boy came to the airport, gave him so many things. What did Prabhupada say? Go to the temple with the devotees. But everyone knew it was crazy. Even Haṁsarūpa Dāsa makes that clear in his narration. A crazy boy sat down. The Prabhupada said, no, go back to the temple with the devotees. He gave him a chance. Because who knows at what point this person had in his previous life, Suchinam, Srimatam, coming into contact with Prabhupada was not an ordinary thing. He's not just some wandering, peripatetic preacher that just appeared on the scene to take advantage of a situation like so many others. No, he was the emissary. He was actually the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so Prabhupada giving a chance to someone like that was the highest fortune one could possibly experience. The highest fortune. Whether he took it or not, we don't know. Maybe in the later narration it will be described. Who is that personality? Just like the Goragano Desh Dipika. There's information about who are these personalities in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who are they in Lord Krishna's pastime? So we don't imagine things like this, but we understand that this person could have become a great devotee. We don't know. He's wandering amongst us at this moment. We don't know, because we haven't discovered. But yet the same compassion was given, and so many devotees we know of, like Pradyumna, became very instrumental in Prabhupada's mission, assisting him, and Jadharani, and Sadhu, all these early devotees. And they were simply the product of Prabhupada's mercy, nothing else. We had no qualification. But by Prabhupada's sadhu sangha, sarva sastra koi, lava macha sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. According to a person's desire, he could empower them Many devotees at that time remained on the periphery. They didn't go directly and try to engage in such a way where they could assist Prabhupada in a very meaningful way. Everybody could be there to do service. That was there. But you see, there were those who took up the task of transcription for many hours at a time with the headphones, listening to the dictaphone and typing and going back and forth and back and forth. The dictaphone has, Prabhupada was just dictating. But the person who transcribes with the dictaphone, he has to sit with the headphones and he has a foot pedal to start and stop the machine because he's writing or typing. No computers. Just imagine all of these things, all of these books, no computers. Not until much later, 1975, 74, 75. You know. And so with the dictaphone, you're starting and stopping and reversing. So you can go back and hear, did we hear that correctly? Prabhupada's colloquial English was challenging at times for the American ear. What did he say? Jiro. Nobody knew what Jiro is. What's Jiro? But zero we could eventually pick up. Prabhupada used terms like cent percent. Nobody ever heard of cent percent. 100%, yes. Cent percent, totally foreign. So the devotees were very challenged, but they did it. Now we have these books. So it makes a difference how you want to reciprocate with the spiritual master. You can just be a passive personality, go through the motions, mechanical aspects of devotional service. Or you could find out, how can I please the spiritual master? What can I do? That has to be the meditation. It's like we understand in the Bhagavad Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyani. We're engaging in such a way with Krishna to show him, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me. Now, so this, how we interact with the spiritual master should not be simply this hollow fawning of, just like, oh, Guru Maharaj, you're this and that, you're so great, you're so magnificent, you're so... No, this is just words. Prabhupada said one should act in such a way that Krishna sees you. So what is the difference? One should act in such a way that the spiritual master sees you. You're not invisible. Whatever you do, there are 33 million demigod witnesses, plus the 10 directions, plus the super soul. There's nothing unknown. How Krishna is omnipotent or omnipotent. And the spiritual master is also qualified as Trikalagya. He knows everything, past, present, and future. That which Krishna dictates from within. We hear that verse, that Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Sannivishto. But how does that work? Krishna is a source of knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Because the pure devotee, he has a specific mission. It's not that he goes off on a tangent and says, all right, Krishna, I want to know how to fix this 1957 Chevy, so give me the intelligence. No, it's not like that. Although one devotee criticized Prabhupada like that. Foolishly. Prabhupada doesn't know how to do this, as if he's supposed to be, how can you say, wasting his time doing some mundane activity. Prabhupada spread this mission throughout the world, and it is not limited simply by, just like now we have people who want to go to Mars or to the moon. They want to make the human race interplanetary or multiplanetary. Just say this happens. That means whatever human knowledge is there from the Vedas will also travel to that place. I mean, it's so much imagination at this point, but you can extrapolate. that this is a possibility. But this is all, it's already on all the planets of the demigods. It's already on these planets, that most of their desires to become interplanetary, probably not going to be realized, but you can't tell them that. Because this is a money maker for them. You know, just like the moon mission, big money maker, propaganda. Prabhupada told very clearly, an easy journey to other planets. They have not gone. They have not gone. So we're very fortunate to be able to have in such close proximity Srila Prabhupada's instructions in every respect. And thanks to our devotees in the Bhaktivedanta archives, all of Prabhupada's works are preserved in the most secure situation, ready to withstand any calamity. Digitized, preserved, vaulted, so many ways. So important. This is because just like now, nobody really knows what Jesus Christ said. They have a few snippets. But we know everything that Srila Prabhupada ever said that's been discovered. All the time some new things are being discovered. And each one is a revelation. You know, because the pure devotee is, as Prabhupada said, he's speaking directly on behalf of Krishna. But this takes some faith. There's like this term, Shrutidhara. Someone wants to think that this Shrutidhara means that once having heard, one never forgets. What does that imply? That if I read the Bhagavatam, every single word, that means I'll have a photographic memory. But that's not what Shrutidhara means. Shrutidhara means once having heard, the lesson, the purport, is never forgotten. So this is the key. That we're hearing every day how one should act, how one should behave. Suchina, what did Prabhupada say? Satyam Socham. He always said that the Brahmin's first two qualities, Samo Damo Tapa Socham. But he always put Satyam in the beginning of that shloka. Truthfulness, cleanliness. So all these actions for a Brahmin, if you learn them, then you must live them. You cannot walk out of the Bhagavatam class and ignore that the temple is not clean. Otherwise, you've learned nothing, you've heard nothing. The difference between Gyan, right, knowledge, and wisdom, Vigyan. Vigyan is applied knowledge. So you have to take what you hear and you have to apply it. So if the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam and everything is telling us how we have to act, and we have to act in that capacity. Otherwise we're not getting the real benefit. We're only getting the licking of the jar aspect. You can see it. Anyone can see that this transcendental knowledge is perfect and complete. And sometimes they're afraid to open it because then he thinks, I will have to surrender. Yes, this is the goal. Sarvadhamma Pratyajana. Whole 18 chapters up to that point. But he's afraid. He's thinking, oh, then my life is finished. I have to become a devotee. I have to serve Krishna. I have to serve the spiritual master. I have to serve the mission of the spiritual master. Right, Prabhupada used that example of Lord, and he said Zetlin, but Lord Zetlin. That Prabhupada's God brothers, when they went to London, he inquired from them, that can you make me a Brahmin? And they said, yes, of course. He says, what do I have to do? He says, you have to give up these 4 things. Meat eating, no meat, no fish, no eggs, no meat eating, no flesh foods, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. And what was his response? Impossible. Impossible. This is our life. So we've already come to that point. We have understood that these 4 pillars of sinful life. And if you cut these out, then you can have a chance to come to the platform of goodness. Because only from the platform of goodness can knowledge be acquired or realized. It's not acquired. It's already there. But by the cleansing process, by the purification process, this original knowledge is revealed. I know the Guru Coolies, they have a very famous t-shirt. And I've said this before. In the back of the t-shirt it says, because we know that there's 3 components here. Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Right? Sat means eternally, Chit means knowledge, and Ananda is bliss. Spiritual bliss. Not material. If everything is Sat, then it cannot be material. Everything material is temporary. So they have on the back of the t-shirt, Chit happens. See? If you're engaged in purification, then you get the benefit. So it's not an accident. One has to make the effort. And this is our only reason that we have a temple, is to provide the means for purification. And I see that right now, after the temple needs a lot of cleaning. And our devotees need a lot of purification. So you can't ignore this. If you ignore this, then Prabhupada said, then you are of the same quality. So if the temple is dirty, then you're dirty. Your heart is dirty. Your intelligence is dirty. And it must be cleansed. And so this is an opportunity. And you have to see it that way. That every morning we chant these same prayers. Same exact prayers. And what is that? We're singing, Sringala Tan Mandira Marjanado. We understand that the spiritual masters, Nikunjayuno, Rakti Keli say, that's that. And how do we understand that? We understand that by engaging in the basic appreciation of what the temple represents, what the Archa-Vigraha represents, especially to us. The Archa-Vigraha is Krishna. He doesn't have to do anything. Whether we serve him or not, it doesn't change his position. But serving him gives us favorable situation. And so therefore, we're speaking how we should see our relationship to Krishna in the capacity as a menial servant. And the more you develop that mentality, because some services may not automatically, someone may be thinking, I'm a very elevated person. I'm just distributing this knowledge like the Kamadhenu cow going from Grahastha house to Grahastha house and benedicting these conditioned souls. And I don't have to do any service in the temple. I don't have to get my hands dirty. I've already surpassed that stage. This is Maya. This is illusion. We saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the pastime of Gundicha Marjanado. He didn't sit back and supervise. He didn't say, okay, you go do this. No. The picture is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita of Lord Chaitanya. The devotees are throwing water. Lord Chaitanya is feeling very jubilant. And he's spreading the water and throwing it. You know how they clean in India. You see, not like we clean here. They take pots of water and they throw, or they throw like this, or they throw like this. And then the water penetrates every crevice and crack. And the fresh feeling is there, especially in a stone temple. It becomes very pleasant atmosphere in that spot. So that cleansing, that pleasing effect comes even if you're cleaning the temple here in Brooklyn, New York. One will feel that same satisfaction. He may not recognize it at first because of our conditioning. But it is a taste, an acquired taste, a relishable taste. Why? Because the spiritual master is directly reciprocating with him. He sees my disciple is trying to follow my instructions. Let me encourage him. How does he encourage him? Because that opportunity, what is taste? We're so dull. Vishaya vinivartante nirharasideha. Rasava jamusopyasya paramjasvanavartate. Now how will we get that higher taste if we don't try to appreciate from the very basic foundational principles of learning Trinadapi Sunicha and Ataropi Suhicha? So this humility is, again, also something developed. You have to practice it, just like anything else. You have to practice. So we have so much opportunity. Like I said, it's not... Temple, Prabhupada told us, is not a hotel for eating and sleeping. Said to, if that happens, he said, that the whole mission will be destroyed. Those are not his exact words, but he's implied like that. See if I have that handy to say. Yes. So Prabhupada is speaking 7th canto in the 9th chapter in Mayapur, 1976. Krishna Bhuya Jeev Bhoga Vanchakare Pashate Maya Tare Japatiya Dhare from Prema Vibhata. As soon as we become puffed up, now I shall become master. I shall be simply giving order. I shall not follow anyone. That is Maya. So that disease is going on, beginning from Brahma down to the ant. Prahlad Maharaj has understood this so-called false prestigious position of becoming a master. He says that I am quite aware of this false thing. Kindly engage me. Nija Britya Parshvam. This is from the shloka. Nija Britya Parshvam means just like apprentice. One apprentice is engaged to an expert man. By and by, the apprentice learns how to do things. Therefore, he says, Nija Britya Parshvam. Not that immediately I become very expert servant, but let me, this institution is for that purpose. If somebody comes here, the free hotel and free sleeping accommodation, then his coming to this association is useless. He must learn how to serve. Nija Britya Parshvam. Those who are serving, one should learn from him how he's serving 24 hours. Then our joining this institution will be successful. And if we take it that here is an institution where we can have free hotel, free living, and free sense gratification, then the whole institution will be spoiled. Be careful. All the GBCs, they should be careful that this mentality may not increase. Everyone should be very eager to serve, to learn how to serve. Nija Britya Parshvam. then life will be successful. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. So why would Prabhupada, Bhagavatam class, highest philosophical content, why is he speaking like this to the assembled devotees? This is essential instruction. It is not Gopi Bhav. Some people are thinking, oh no, we're already beyond this. They can't even properly worship the spiritual master. But yet they want to jump over. 1976, when Prabhupada came to New York, he sat on Nat Vyasa-san. And he said, do not jump over the head of the spiritual master. Because even then, these things were happening. There's a term in a children's game, maybe they have it also in India, called leapfrog, where one boy jumps over another boy. Okay, so in this way you continue until some mistake, and then another person gets a turn, called leapfrog. So Prabhupada was saying, this is not like leapfrog. Do not jump over the head of the spiritual master. And so we should be very humble. One is already thinking, I'm something else. How has he acquired that misunderstanding? Because he is not sufficiently engaged in actual devotional service. He's thinking, no, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. There's so many Bhajananandis in India. But they have no standing. Prabhupada dismissed them. That these people are, everyone knows the highest place according to nectar of instruction within this universe is Radha Kund. So Prabhupada, they have not gone to Radha Kund, they have gone to Narak Kund. Because they're thinking, I'm going there. Yes, I'm qualified. Prabhupada said, no, they have not gone to Radha Kund, they've gone to Narak Kund. Narak means hell. So one has to be very faithful to the spiritual master. It doesn't require that one has to become superficially advanced in the eyes of others, hold a big position. None of this is there. Sometimes big position just means some more facility to serve the spiritual master. If you accept it like that, then it's okay. Not that now I am become department head this, head that. Some temples you go, there are 50 heads of departments. Every little thing has a head. Well, it's not necessary. One simply has to have the desire. One man can accomplish many things, if he's sincere. So your challenge is that you should be sincere in executing the spiritual master in every respect, from smallest to largest. Don't skip over anything. All these activities are foundational. If you skip one aspect of the foundation, then in the future, potentially, you'll have a collapse, like so many famous buildings collapse in India or everywhere, in America also. Bridges, they collapse. Defective engineering. So you may not see it now, you may not even realize or think about it. But if you don't engage in such a way, if Krishna has not passed you from this course to that course, from point A to point B, from 101 to 201, then in the future you will be affected. You won't know until that time though. And you'll see, oh, why am I feeling like this in such a distressed state? Why am I not able to get the taste? Why am I not able to do this or do that? You know, and be nimitta matram bhava savyasa, an effective instrument for Krishna's cause. Because you inadvertently or negligently skipped over something that was required. And so what happens? You have to again go back Because you cannot go forward. Krishna does not allow. Maya does not allow. Maya sees, oh, wait a second. You passed over this very crucial aspect in your devotional life. So she'll challenge you, she'll put you back. And many people, when they get put back, they say, oh no, I'm not going to do this all over again. No, I can't do this. I can't become humble. I can't become, an instrument. I was a big, big person. Now I have to become nobody. No more people paying obeisances to me. No more getting the Mahaprasadam. The big plate from the Raj Bhog. How does this describe? Prabhupada said, profit, distinction, and adoration. Puja Pratishta. So if you do not overcome this sense of profit, distinction, adoration, that I am deserving of, then your spiritual life will be very challenging. Has to be diminished. Why Trinada Peace Trinechara? Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is stressing on this? Why is he stressing on Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim? I don't want wealth, I don't want women. I don't want followers. Why? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, most munificent incarnation, Namo Mahavarinaya Krishna Parampadayate. And he left us 8 shlokas, bas. But he left us his whole life, as described by the great devotees of Krishnadas Kavirajan. So we see by example, by precept and example, because those two things should be there, Prabhupada described. Not just that one speaks, but he should live by that example. Right? What do they say in the material world? Not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. Right? So this is a challenge. I hope that everyone, especially I know for a fact that if you stay engaged under the direction of the spiritual master, within the parameters given by them, which conform to Prabhupada's mission statement, then you will be successful. It's guaranteed. Just like if you follow the course curriculum, you will get your degree at the end of your matriculation of your 4 years. You will get, or 6 years, or 8 years, or whatever. You'll definitely get it. But if you are failing this course and failing that course and failing this course, then what can you expect? You will not get past. So don't take it lightly. Take it seriously. That everything I do affects my future trajectory. Everything I do. And everything I don't do impacts my spiritual future. So these are the do's and the don'ts, right? In Nectar of Instruction gives us these things. Atyahara priyasas chapa japa niyamagraha. Right? And then the other side is that, yes, do certain things, associate with the devotees. Anyway, the verse. Yes. So it'd be the pretty lakshanam. Yes. So you have to exchange 6 things. So it's the do's and the don'ts. So where else can you do that except in the temple? You don't go out to any random person on the street and say, hey, let me reveal my mind to you in confidence. And you can reveal your mind to me. Then you'll become that crazy person that went to see Prabhupada. No. Or you say, let me exchange gifts with you. Do you have something for me? I'll give you something, you give me something. No. And these gifts are not material also. They can be gifts of, any other consideration on the spiritual platform. So I was late starting and late in trying to understand which shloka we're on. For the next person know, he should know. Text 69, right? Make sure they know. The nice purport. And any questions, and as Archit would say, questions relevant to the shloka, or whatever we were describing, because we did take the situation. Well, let's just read it again. The great sage Narada replied, "My dear king, please do not be aggrieved about your son. He is well protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Well protected by the Supreme Personality. Although you have no actual information of his influence, his reputation is already spread all over the world. Do we need a mic? You could say, who had the hand up first? No, who is that? Oh, Lokik. Does it speak loudly, Lokik?
Person who is engaged in devotional service, Krishna always protects them. Rather, he is never unprotected. So here, what does it mean? Like the physical aspect or the devotional service that they are doing, that is protected. Because if it is the devotional service, then it doesn't apply to the case of Jad Bharat.
If he's always protected and never unprotected, so there's how is it that we're unprotected? If we're always protected, how is it that we're unprotected? By acting in some contrary manner. We can understand that Krishna is always willing. I used to, parents have a challenging service. They have to take care of their children. The parents can't always be there. But we know that Krishna is always there. But there's one thing we used to tell the children. He says, Krishna can protect you from anything except your own stupidity. Huh? So you can't expect Krishna to protect you if you do something like walk off the edge of a cliff. Oh, Krishna's protecting me. No. Prabhupada gave the example that the mind, and everyone, and maybe not everyone, I've experienced, you walk to the edge of a cliff and the mind says jump. You just wanted to see the scenery, but the mind is so corrupted that it says, hey, maybe let's see what it would be like to fall down 3,000 feet. The mind says, but Prabhupada said, but the intelligence says no. The mind tells you to do so many stupid things. Enjoy this, enjoy that, break this principle, break that principle. Yeah, the mind says. But the intelligence says no. So, we're always protected unless we choose not to be protected. So don't make that choice. The mind is always accepting, rejecting. It can be trained. Bandhuratmatmanastasya. The best friend and the worst enemy. Bhagavad Gita is very clear that the mind is the best friend or the worst enemy. The mind engaged in Krishna's service is the best friend. Why? Because it's keeping you free from those situations where you will be unprotected. So we're very fortunate to have this compendium of knowledge. We don't have to go anywhere. Krishna is so kind that not only that, we see that by the efforts of the devotees, everything has been preserved. So there's no excuse not to study. Maybe someone would say in the old days, well, I don't have a book. And now everyone has not just a book, he has a phone with the entire Vedic literature. Everything is there. Just like I was able to pull up this lecture from Mayapur, 1976. Every word is there. Every instruction is there. There is no excuse to say, well, I didn't know that. Right? What do they say in a court of law? Ignorance is no excuse. You cannot go to the judge and say, I didn't know that this was illegal. No, ignorance is no excuse. So for us, it's the same. Ignorance is no excuse. You've heard so many things. You've heard from your superiors. You've heard from the spiritual master. You've heard from Supreme Personality of God Himself, what to do, what not to do. And if you still do it, then you're unprotected. So that is the situation. Nice question, Lokik. Thank you. Sandesh.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So this tendency of jumping over the spiritual master, as we found in Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit, like some devotees from, some disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj from Kolkata Mutt. So they are quarreling over like who would how can I be facilitated myself? Like how could I be the head of this room or head of this facility? So although they were under the direction of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and they were doing their devotional service, how this tendency of jumping over the spiritual master or quarreling over amongst their corporators come?
Okay, another good question. Prabhupada gave us, first we have so many instructions. The difficulty is in understanding what is the essence. So Prabhupada has already given us that essence in our sadhana, our situation. And He has also given us the vehicle, the mission. Sometimes there's the analogies compared to that the Vedas are the favorable breezes, that ISKCON is the boat and the spiritual master is the captain. Okay? There may be many boats. There's also the boat of the Gaudiya Math. That boat is there. And they had their mission. Their mission was compromised at a certain point because of a lack of fidelity to the spiritual master's instructions. What did Srila Bhaktisiddhanta say? Practically at the time of disappearance, he said, I want you to form a governing body. No one should become acharya. And as soon as he left, what did they do? Immediately they split up the assets and each one claimed, I am acharya. Not just acharya of this mat, I am acharya of all the Gaudiya mats. But you don't accept me, so no problem. So each one became in charge of a simple little temple. And the whole mission was spoiled. 64 branches at the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's disappearance. So one who doesn't follow the instruction of the spiritual master, and that Prabhupada describes in the purport, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says he becomes asara. Asara means useless. He becomes useless. So we have no instruction from Srila Prabhupada that says we should go outside of ISKCON and try to appreciate some other instructions. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's instructions are there. Anyone can read them directly without interpretation. If it's his absolute desire to find out, and why would he do that? I want to just make sure that Prabhupada is speaking exactly Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is speaking. So that's already a disqualification, a faithless disqualification. We discussed that point about Shrutidhar. If you have sufficiently heard from the spiritual master, either from his books or directly from his presence, and you have not understood, and you have not developed that faith which allows you to continue to advance in spiritual life and execute the mission, then you have not Shrutidhar. So one has to be extremely careful in this respect. Okay? Prabhupada instructed us not to go outside and hear from any of his God brothers. He said even one misspoken word can create havoc in the institution. And we've seen it. Okay? So therefore, and what is that? There's so many analogies one can give. Does anybody know what the word chaste means? Everyone knows chaste. We understand the chastity in reference to one's allegiance to one's wife or to one's vows. So if one has taken this vow to serve the spiritual master, serve the mission, and then he thinks, well, let me just embellish it. I'll I'll add something. No, what is it? And where is the question of chastity? It's like going to another person's wife and saying, I need to get some alternate opinion or instruction. No, one doesn't do that. This is unchaste. So what is the harm? What is the loss if one remains chaste? People say, oh, you're not getting the highest taste. It is also bogus. If everything is there, and Srila Prabhupada is guaranteed that, yes, at the appropriate time, the spiritual master will reveal everything, including your so-called Siddha Deha. So what need do we have to be impetuous, to be impatient? Is there some loss? The only reason someone would do that, again, is for profit, distinction, and adoration. To hold themselves up as a big devotee. I am more advanced than you. And because I'm more advanced, you should give me honor and worship. And you should become my follower. And you should listen to me. You don't need to listen to anyone else. Now you only listen to me. I have so many persons I have encountered in the course of 50 years who have declared that I am the only pure devotee. Even in ISKCON, they said, I am the only pure devotee. So this is how we can speak from experience. We have seen how a person can become so degraded, so bewildered, that he's thinking, I am a pure devotee. So don't let that happen to you. There is more than enough. We used to say, of course, in those days we were just simply trying to be straightforward. We said, have you read all of Prabhupada's books? How many times have you read them? Have you understood them? Are you following them? You know, if someone cannot answer that honestly, then no, I've read everything and I'm not satisfied. This is what he's mean. He's implying I have not gotten what I think should be the higher taste and realization. Such a fool. Such a fool. What does the Bhagavad Gita say about that? Moga samoga karmana moga jnana vichetasaha. His knowledge is stolen by illusion. He's actually put himself into the demoniac class. He doesn't know it. He's still out. Why did Bhaktivinoda Thakur take so much trouble to give us the distinction? Two things, he said. Kali Chela. Everyone knows what Kali Chela is? Bhaktivinoda Thakur described it. Looks just like a devotee. Shaven head, tila, kunti mala. But he is like a snake in disguise, come into the society to destroy from within. Kali Chela. Then the other thing is the, what is that? I'll think of it in a second. But it basically means one who's a show-off. He wants to show off his devotion. And that's the other side of this Maya, where the person is just... and so these two types of so-called devotees are condemned. Right? So one should not, try to imitate or pretend. You should be simple, honest. What is the problem? Someone saying, no, I need quickly. No, this impatience, this whole point is there, again, in the nectar of instruction. That utsaha nishchaya daryat. Utsaha nishchaya daryat. It has, yes, enthusiasm should be there, but it should be enthusiasm which is genuinely cultivated and experienced. Prabhupada did tell us that if you, even if you don't want to dance, if you dance, the bliss will come. Why? Because it's a purely spiritual surrender, and the Supreme Lord is looking for an opportunity. He will reciprocate with you. And we've experienced this personally in Prabhupada's presence. No one can deny it. Anyone who's there, everyone has that same common experience. How much ecstasy there was, when Prabhupada would simply chant the Mahamantra or chant Jai Radha Madhava. Unmistakable, unforgettable. Right? But that same experience can be had if one is pure enough. He has to be pure enough in his desires, pure enough in his motives to perform, and then he will get the same benefit. He will get that ecstasy. He will get that rasabhajam rasopyasa. He will get that higher taste. But if he's still looking, I need to get higher and higher, that means he hasn't really experienced the first aspect of the higher taste. This higher taste is so fulfilling that one doesn't need anything else. He's fully satisfied. But then people say, oh no, he's just on a lower place, he's Kanishta. So what's wrong with being Kanishta? Any other questions? So don't jump over the head of the spiritual master. Don't go outside the parameters. Don't think that, oh, I'll get this knowledge, a little bit different flavor. No. It's Maya trying to pull us out. No, this person speaking about this higher, this rasa tattva. No. You have to see what are the qualifications. Any other questions? Getting late. Yes.
Prabhu, you were saying that we should not jump over. If we jump over, that Maya will challenge us with some other thing that, oh, you missed this qualification, that maybe you should be more humble in that way. But if one is conditioned that he doesn't know that Maya is pulling him and challenging him in some situation, that in what so what he needs to do in that way, like how should he rectify that situation?
He needs to maintain his relationships. That's what the verse I forgot. Dadati pratigrinati guya makyati prichati. He has to have this relationship with his God family, God brothers. He cannot be independent. There's bhajanand, this tendency to separate oneself, to not remain in the association of devotees, or to try to cultivate association which is in his mind something, whatever. That is the disqualification. He has to remain within his friendly group that he's cultivating. These friends you have now will be your friends for 50, 40, 60, as long as you're alive. And if you fall into Maya, I guarantee you they will be the first ones to tell you. Because why? They have your best interests in mind and heart. Say, Prabhu, you've missed Mangalarti 3 days in a row. You're sleeping all day long. You're not fully engaged properly. How can I help you? So these things have to be there. One has to know. So somehow or other, stay in the association devotees, in our ISKCON society, and Krishna will protect you the whole time without any gap. Just like Dhruva Maharaj was protected. Even though no one understood how so, he was fully protected. You are also fully protected, as long as you keep yourself under the shelter. It's like an umbrella. You're in the rain. If you move the umbrella away, yes, you're going to be wet. But you're holding the protection right here. So only out of foolishness, you're not putting it over your head. Everything is there. All right, so we'll go take prasad. And I expect to see the temple spotless today. So make sure you engage all your cohorts in making that happen. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Radha Govinda ki, Tan Mandira Marjanado ki.